We've always known that Wattson had an electrical scar going across her face from an accident in her youth. But her new collection event skin shows that those scars actually go across her entire body. There's scarring on her torso, there's scarring on her arms, even going all the way down her thighs and legs. But what exactly caused these electrical scars? What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and today we're breaking down the history of how exactly Wattson got her scars. Let's get right into it. Wattson grew up an only child to a single father because her mother died during childbirth. Now, her father did not have much time to care for her because he had to spend so much time working, and so Wattson ended up spending much of her childhood by herself. Her father was hired by the syndicate to set up the very first arena for the Apex Games, and he would spend the next few years on its development, while Wattson would spend much of that time exploring Kings Canyon. However, there would be an issue with the development of the Apex Games. While running some of the test matches, they found that many of the fighters would just camp out and matches would last an entire day or more, which did not make for good viewing entertainment. So Wattsons Father was tasked with creating a method in order to force the fighters together and battle each other. This proved to be a great struggle for the brilliant scientist, and Wattson wanted to see if she could help him out. If only her father actually wanted her assistance. He told Wattson that she was still a child and she should enjoy it while she still could. But Wattson insisted on trying to find a solution to her father's problem. She finally came up with a solution to the issue and tried to share that with her dad, but it ended up in a massive argument and Wattson ran out in the middle of the night. Have you learned something you didn't know before? If you do, make sure you drop a like on the video, it really helps out the channel. Let's get back into it. Wattson was determined to prove that her theories were correct. So she ventured out to find pieces of tech she needed that were hidden deep inside some abandoned IMC laboratories. Wattson ventured deep into the abandoned labs to find a couple of bubble shields that she'd noticed there before. However, she was startled by what she thought was a ghost. A disembodied voice told her to leave, and then when she turned to go, a floating head with milky white eyes appeared out of nowhere, screamed at her to go. Wattson fled the lab, so terrified by the encounter that she dropped the shoes off of her feet. However, she was equipped with the technology she needed in order to test out what would eventually become the ring in the Apex Games. It began to rain, but Wattson persisted in testing her device. He took the bubble shields and wired them together with a generator to power them, with one shield producing a smaller field inside the other. In the space in between the shields, she projected heat rays that would damage any living thing caught inside of them, then used the device to test the shrinking of the internal ring. Her theories had proved correct and she had just run the very first successful test of her ring technology. But at that very moment, a bolt of lightning streaked from the sky and struck the generator that was powering her device. The electrical surge arced from the generator all across her entire body, sending her flying and then also starting a fire on the generator. She lay there, dazed by the shock and unable to move when suddenly the rain stopped and the fire began to spread. Wattson thought that she might die there, unable to move or speak, watching the blaze grow ever closer. Suddenly, the ghost that Wattson had seen in the labs appeared before her, stepping through a portal. This was no ghost, it was actually Wraith. She had only just arrived in this world from her own journey and was using the labs as a hiding place at the time. The voices inside Wraith's head told her of the danger, the blaze that was raging outside, and so she decided to use her abilities in order to save Wattson. Wraith scooped Wattson off the ground and then used the portals to escape the fire, a blaze that would tear down the entire area, eventually creating the shattered forest that used to exist on Kings Canyon. Wattson barely remembered the encounter, and her father had the labs buried after that fateful night, but she was able to prove her theories to her father correct. She forced her father to take credit for the technology. The Syndicate was finally able to start the Apex Games with the creation of the ring technology. Despite asking her father to take full credit for that technology, he actually ended up telling the truth to the Apex Games commissioner, Kuben Blisk, that it was his daughter that had created the ring technology. And after her father's death, Blisk summoned Wattson to his office and offered her a place in the Apex Games at any time that she wanted. Wattson would eventually take up this offer at the tender age of 22 after her father's passing. Now you know how Wattson got her scars, but there's so much more Apex Legends lore to dive into. If you want to know more about the backstory of this battle royale, then make sure you click the playlist on your screen right now. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.